This is a voiceover for Jaydon Turman, SoCal QB wide receiver camp, December 20th and 21st, 2025. Saw a little head lean there. So the thing about the head lean is every inch that you move off of your axis, your release point changes an inch. So you've got to self-correct. So we want to try to keep our head as still as possible. Pin your chin towards where you're throwing. Attack the ball in flight. Reach your hands out there and extend catch instead of letting it come into your body. The faster you can get the ball in your hands, the faster you can get your feet set. So we've got extra footwork here. The strategy of stepping towards the target definitely works if you have a line that could be aggressive, fire out. I mean, you're gaining a yard and a half towards the line of scrimmage. So just be aware of that. You know, it is a strategy that we've talked about in the past. Get your cleats in the ground of your left foot. Absorb to that front leg. I like the knee bend in the front leg. Work to keep your back foot connected. We want 3 points of contact. We want 1, 2, and then the third point of contact is our arm extending towards the target. Second point of contact is this back foot staying connected to the ground. The trajectory of the ball is going to be dictated by the tilt of the front shoulder. Good footwork. Ball placement is a premium. So depending on where the defender, the corner is at, that'll dictate, where you need to make this throw. You threw it on his back shoulder. Now there are instances where there could be a cover two where the corner is essentially mid-pointing the number 1 receiver and the number 2 receiver. This is a number 2 receiver because he was inside of the outside receiver. And so if that person is using a feather technique and mid-pointing the two, and if you don't feel like the alley player is expanding enough, then you could throw on the inside shoulder of the number 2 receiver. Be aware of ball placement when you're training. We gotta make sure we're throwing as accurate as possible, and we're visualizing the coverage when we throw routes on air. And more urgency in our feet. We got to get twitchier with our feet. Getting ready to throw the football. Attack the ball in flight. Continue to work drills where you're strengthening your grip. You're working on rotation. Transverse plane movements are so critical. I can't stress those enough. You need to try to produce as much power as you can through the ground all the way to your throwing arm. As you can see, other kids your age are able to throw the ball with a lot more velocity, a lot more spin, and can throw it further. So you've got to use as much as you can from the ground up as possible. You got to strategize from that standpoint. The mental side of the game is going to be your biggest ally. Using your feet and your speed is going to be one of your biggest allies as well. So the times where you can't push the ball vertically or throw it past outside the numbers, you've got to be able to find space inside or be able to attack a defense with your feet. Okay, so some of these resets, again, if you could throw on schedule, throw on schedule. All right, the way that you're loading the ball back, to me, I want to just bring this tip of the ball back. You're loading the tip of the ball up and away. So I think that's a little bit of wasted movement there. Your arm's at a 90 on that load. I'm happy with that. I think that's good. But essentially, you want that wrist to be more down on that load phase, and then as you start to bring the elbow forward, Then your elbow starts to rise. Your wrist is going to go from extension back to flexion, okay, to extension to flexion again. There's multiple movements of the wrist as you're going through your throwing motion. Resets. Be cognizant of, are you able to get the number of resets that you are having? You got to be able to identify what the coverage structure is, and then be able to diagnose post snap quickly who you ought to throw to. Your feet or your timing mechanism. The depth of the receiver's routes are their timing mechanism. And you want to be on the same page with the first in the progression, second in the progression, third, and then subsequent parts of the progression. Again, 3 points of contact, keep that back foot connected. A little bit of a dip forward. Again, your head is going to control your release point. If your head is off your axis, meaning it's dipping forward or it's leaning to the side, then that release point's going to change. I like the cleats in the ground here. You got good absorption to that front leg. There's a good bend in the front leg. Good stuff there. Good twitchy, good rotational. When I look at this throw, for instance, seeing that load of that football with that tip of that ball, like really up and back, where I want this right arm, this left arm to copy one another, equal and opposite. Think palms together, palms down. So when you on that initial load phase, palms together, and then palms are pointing down of both hands. And then as you start to go from elbow back, that initial load, to elbow forward, then the elbow is going to get even with the shoulder joint. The tip of the ball is going to start rotating back towards the target. Get a little more fluid on that circular pattern of the throwing motion. Keep the back foot connected. Kind of see how that body dips. Your head's starting to dip forward. Try to keep a slight concave in the back. And then get rotational power through that core, through that transverse plane. Angular velocity. Okay, if it's a quick sprint, great. But if you're supposed to gain ground, make sure you're gaining ground. That's up to you to make sure that you're very specific with your footwork. Okay. All right, I like how the ball's flat. Get your feet set. Ball. Be aware of not over-rotating this back hip. You want your hip, obviously, to beat your trunk, your shoulders, the arm, hand, and the ball. I mean, the order of operation is this: pelvis, then you have your trunk, then you have your shoulders, then you have your arm, hand, and the ball. Right? That's the order of operation when you're throwing motion. Hips starting to rotate, and then decel that hip. So the hip area is the first to start, right? So it should be the first to stop. So it should not be continuing to rotate through when the rest of your body parts are doing their job. We want to be able to create torque. The way that we create the torque is having a good balance side here, having a good power side here, but there's an order of operation. This lower half starts first and it stops first. The trunk goes second and then it stops second. The shoulders go third and it stops third, and then the last to load and to come back through is the arm. So don't over rotate this back foot. keep that foot connected. Be violent with the back foot. Turn it. That's going to help you create more oomph on your throws. Again, the load of the football is a little awkward here. Think palms together, palms down. Head's leaning out. Let that arm come through naturally. Shove drill, reset, get twitchy, deliver. Pocket eject drill, follow that throw, good ball. Just see, like, there's just too much going on here. Got to get the ball out quick, man. You know the game happens fast. Attack that ball in flight. Boom, snatch it. And get it in your hands, ball. Fast, 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 fast. Practice fast, practice under control. Practice fast, fast, under control, under control. You can kind of see the other kid next to you. This is more urgency. Yeah, that was a good rep. Wish you would have got the end result on some of these throws, but it's all good. There, good pocket movement. Keep a good base. Be ready to deliver. Maintain that good base. Feet outside of your hips. Be violent, but under control. Good rep there. Okay, resetting. Boom. Working smooth. Making people miss. Keeping your eyes upfield, feeling the cones. A little false step there and a reset. It's supposed to be a plant and throw. Moving off of your spot. Ball placement. Make sure you get your depth. You're supposed to get your depth. We got to be ready to throw that quicker. We can't let that ball die inside. You're going to have people trailing your defenders, right? I mean, depending on the coverage. Coverage will dictate the type of throw that you can make, always. Look at how you're loading up that back leg and then resetting. To me, that's waste. It's taking too long to get that ball in your hands. Just too long. It's got to be quicker. It's got to be twitchier. Want that back foot to hit at 8 yards on that. Wasn't deep enough. So there's a line of scrimmage there. So you get past one line and you get to about 7 yards, get to 8 yards based off of what Coach Luis said out there. That was 3 points of contact. I saw you decel that back foot a little bit better on that one. Get your depth, attack downhill, follow the throw. Ride it forward, get twitchy. So, back hip to front hip, and then yank it back. Like in some of these throws, you probably want to pull it back just a smidge quicker. Boom, get ready to load that ball back and throw. All right, man. Keep on working. Use your strengths to your advantage. Understand how to mask your weaknesses as best you can. Your mind is going to be your biggest weapon. Your quickness of feet is going to be a great weapon for you. Anticipate throws. Know what types of throws you can't make. Be aware of that. Continue to work your tail off in the weight room, especially working through that transverse plane, working rotary movement, working rotational power, ground force. As much as you can do with med balls, as much as you can do with creating balance on one side and then rotating that other side, is going to be critical for you. Keep your head still, keep the 3 points of contact, load the football correctly. You're going to be in good shape. And I appreciate you. Keep working.